Hello and welcome to episode 29 of Dunk's Movie Corner or the Dunk's Movie Corner podcast, whatever you want to call it. You made it. I made it. Another week in the bag. Sorry folks, I'm kind of out of it. I am pretty hungover, but I don't want to fall back into missing uploads for this, so here we are. So this is a jumbled mess, or if I am rambling or just trail off into nothingness, that's probably because I'm not at 100% currently. But if you are new, welcome. If you're not new, welcome back. What this podcast is a short recap of what I watched this week in movies or limited series or TV or anything like that. And I kind of give a quick rating or my review. I will, again, as I usually say at the top, this is more of a companion podcast to the Movie Bros, which is a podcast that I do with my brother, where we pick a movie, watch that movie, and kind of discuss it and banter and ramble about it. So that's more of an actual conversation. So I'd say if you like this and you want something a little bit more meaty, check that out. That is also on Spotify. Both of these podcasts are on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon. So wherever you find your podcast, we're probably available. I just want to make sure that's known. Both podcasts are also on Instagram at Dunk's Movie Corner Pod and at the movie_bros. So anywhere you want to find a little bit of ramblings about movies, we got you covered. And for this week, I didn't watch a ton because, again, life got busy. But I will say I started the week by watching some of, because again, I'm watching like one episode a day, or at least not even every day, of it's called Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story. It's Netflix. It's in the same vein as like the Jeffrey Dahmer or the Zac Efron Ted Bundy bit, or the People versus O.J. Simpson, which was really really good. I am 2 episodes in. Each episode is about an hour ish. And I'll probably give a rating on this when I'm actually completely done with it, because I feel like I can't, watch an episode or two and there's like 8 or 9 episodes and then be like, oh, this is how I feel for the rest of it, no matter what. It is. I don't. Okay, at least 2 episodes in, and I'm sure they're going to show more uh, of maybe the reasons why Eric and Lyle did what they did. I don't want to spoil anything, but it was news at some point. Uh, but I don't feel like I have anyone really to root for. Like, there's no one's really like a good person. Not in like the fun way of like Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where no one's a good person and it's funny. This is like, oh, no one's a good person and it's no one's doing the right thing. Maybe it was a sign of the times, but like, or just like their upbringing. But definitely not what normal mentally stable people would do. But also, they were under extreme pressures from their parents. Again, I'm only 2 episodes in. A lot can change, so I'd say check back with me on this next week, because I'm sure I probably won't have finished it by next week, but I'll probably have 2-ish, maybe 3 more episodes watched, and maybe I'll have different opinions, but that's how I started my week. I've been kind of watching that while I like make lunch or something like that. From there, I want to say this is a rewatch, but I remember almost nothing about it, so I'm going to say I've never watched it before, but I'm pretty sure I have. The 2004 King Arthur movie starring. When I say starring, it's yes, I mean Arthur is Clive Owen, which if you saw him, you know who I'm talking about. But I did not realize just how many people are in this movie that you're like, oh shit, there's like a dozen big name actors who, in 2004, that maybe they weren't as big, but now they've either gone on to do really big stuff or they're just like a well known person of pop culture. So Clive Owen, Owen Grufford, the guy who played Mr. Fantastic in like the superhero movies in like 2005. I've always actually really liked him as an actor. Keira Knightley, Mad Mickelson, Joel Edgerton, Hugh Dancy, Ray Winston, Ray Stevenson, R.I.P. Till Schweiger, the guy who always plays like kind of an evil, usually Nazi or German or something like that. Stellan Skar like the Skarsgård father. Uh, there's a ton of, again, I don't want to just sit here and ramble off names, but there is a ton of people in this. I would say it's fun. It's definitely sort of a retelling of the King Arthur story versus like him pulling the sword from the stone and all that jazz. But uh, it's I wouldn't I don't know. I'd give it like a 3.5 out of 5. Like it's pretty good, but there's definitely bits of it that I don't love. It's kind of cheesy at parts. The action's good. Um, it definitely feels like a Band of Brothers meets Guardians of the Galaxy meets medieval times. It was fun. I'm glad I rewatched it. Uh, for context, Hayden and I just discussed, I think 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, Excalibur from 1981, something like that. And I was like, oh, I just want to see how different these retellings are, because that one is like beat for beat exactly what the actual, like, if you look at the original tale of King Arthur and the Round Table and all that stuff, they try to be super true to that. And some of it works and some of it really does not. If you want to hear more about that, listen to that actual episode. There's, probably an hour's worth of conversation about it. Whereas this, King Arthur, is much, much different, way more action focused, which, I mean, that's the sign of the times of, I mean, I feel like modern day, there's not as much like fantasy that doesn't include a bunch of like action or like sword fighting or just gruesome brutality. I don't, whatever wording you want to use, but I'm glad I rewatched it. Jesus, Duncan. And from there, I put on The Other Guys at one point. This was last Saturday night after like 10 hours of managing slash bartending at a restaurant, so I was pretty burnt out. I didn't really want to have anything where I actually have to like watch. This is something that I put on, kind of just snuggled up with the dog and let my brain melt a little bit. This is definitely of the era. Like, this is from 2010, and it's very clearly from 2010, like the Will Ferrell comedy era. And he was big, and I get why he was so popular, but some of this just doesn't age as well. I don't know. This is one of the few things I can at least stand Mark Wahlberg in. I've never really been a big fan of him as an actor. Obviously I understand that he was a model and other things prior, but I've just never really liked him as an actor in pretty much everything. Um, Eva Mendes is just stunning. I get she's married to Ryan Gosling now, but she plays Will Ferrell's wife in this, and she is just unbelievably attractive. Um, so yeah, people of the world, take note. This is what does it. Yeah, just looking at Mark Wahlberg's like letterbox list of movies he's been in. Really, it's this and The Italian Job in like 2003 were the only things I actually like him in. Everything else, I mean, he's in The Departed by Martin Scorsese, but he's not. I mean, he's such a small character, and he plays just a very Mark Wahlberg character. I don't know how to explain. Like, he's the movie's not about him. So even though the movie's very good, I would not attribute that to him. Anyway, sidetrack. The era of, I feel like, the comedy is kind of over, which is unfortunate because I feel like we're missing like I haven't gone to a movie for like a good comedy in a long time. Like, going to a movie to laugh, I feel like, is not as much a thing. Like, there are other like movies like that have heavy comedy bits in them, but nothing is like a straight comedy anymore, which is kind of unfortunate. But I feel like there's like all this stuff, like genre focusing, comes in waves. Like, for a while it was comedy, and then it was superhero stuff, and then at the time, like in the early 2000s or 90s, there's a lot of rom-com. So 80s might be action movies or whatever. It's just, I get that it's over. I'm sure it'll come back around at some point, and I'm looking forward to good comedies, I guess, in the future. That's how I guess I'd say that. Oh, and this is like a 2 out of 5. Like, not great. from there, I ended my week because again, I didn't really have time to watch a ton of stuff this week. Uh, by watch or technically rewatching because I saw this in theaters, and I'm really glad I saw it in theaters, even though it was good as a rewatch. But 2023 Oppenheimer. This was Best Picture, Best Director, Best Lead Actor, Best I think Supporting Actor. Like this thing swept the Oscars. This is Christopher Nolan. This is Cillian Murphy, Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, Emily Blunt, Florence Pugh, Josh Hartnett, Casey Affleck, Rami Malek, Kenneth Branagh, Benny Safdie. Just again, a stacked cast. Christopher Nolan always makes really good movies. I rewatched this, A, because it's a really good movie, but B, Hayden and I's next episode of the Movie Bros, this is what we're going to be talking about. So that will be recorded tomorrow and will be posted, I believe, on Sunday. So that actually I'm looking forward to because the movie is pretty amazing. Like it won uh best feature film at the Oscars like it's very good. There are some things that I think maybe Hayden and I might align on about things to either tweak or fix, or but if you haven't seen it, it is on Amazon Prime. It is long. It's I think almost 3 hours, and I timed it. There's like the first hour is uh, getting to the point where they're going to build the bomb. The second hour is building the bomb and detonating the bomb, and then the third hour is all the stuff afterwards. It just I understand Robert Oppenheimer is more than just like, oh, the bomb went off. There's more to it, and the story is about him, not about the actual bomb. Like the movie is not called like the Manhattan Project; it's called Oppenheimer, and it was very interesting because I actually weirdly remember doing a like school project on uh, at least the two bombings of Japan in like 8th grade. So it's cool just trying to remember from what I gleaned from that short presentation in like first period at like 8 a.m. Either way, sorry, that was a bit of a nonsensical sentence. Jesus. But yeah, this is 181 minutes. I would give it a very solid 4.5 out of 5. It's almost damn near perfect. Cillian Murphy definitely deserves the Oscar for Best Actor. And again, Amazon Prime, check it out. And that's kind of all I watched this week. And again, sometimes these episodes are around like 10 to 20 minutes or so if I watch a ton, which every once in a while I'll have a week where like nothing else is going on and I just kind of get into a not a rut, but I just end up watching a lot of movies or shows or whatever cuz the Lyle and Eric Menendez is not a movie, it's a limited series I'd call it. Um so sometimes yeah, this ends up being like closer to 30 minutes, but if you're listening, this is usually I'm going to guess around 10 to 12 minutes or so. Probably some light editing, adding some intro and outro music, that kind of deal. And it's just again, it's supposed to be a quick little recap. So if you're looking for something more, excuse me, again, I'd say check out the Movie Bros. There are tons of obviously other podcast options. So if you do end up listening to this, I do appreciate it. And it's just me rambling into nothingness in my room for a couple minutes every week. And if you're ever like, man, gee, I have some movie opinions, I'd love to actually, have a conversation about favorites or least favorites or things I grew up with or what's my thoughts on this or whatever. I'd love to have a conversation with someone too if someone wants to sit down and have a little one-off episode or a special deal. Yeah, but that has been episode, I want to say, what did I say this was I saying, oh yeah, 29 of the Movie Bros, or not, Jesus, episode 29 of Dunk's Movie Corner. And yeah, check back next week for more movies, and I'll see everyone then.